the intersection of sports, tech, and business, where your ultimate playbook for winning on and off the field by mastering the intersection of sports, tech, and business. Today's powerhouse conversations, we're definitely gonna dive in. We have Darian Kelly with us from the Jersey Sports Network. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Other than my Saints losing today, it was a tough thing to see. But other than that, I'm gonna make it. I think I'm gonna make it to next week. I think we look good. But other than that, everything's good on my end. How you feel?
Yeah, I can't say the same for myself, man. I can't say the same for myself, man. The Cowboys, we can't stop the run, and we can't run the ball. So it's a recipe for disaster. We paid Dak, we paid CD, and they're not really getting it done right now. We're coming from behind. The defense is looking bad. Michael Parsons still got to get paid, and he's not, producing at the level that he probably should be producing at. So,
Right,
man, it's looking all bad for me right now. All bad.
man. We'll see. We'll see how it all shape up for the boys, man. It's
Yeah,
gonna be an
man.
interesting season for sure.
For sure, for sure. But it's been a lot going on this weekend. You get to watch any football yesterday?
Yeah, I did catch the Tennessee Oklahoma game. That was an exciting game to catch. Between that game, that was like the biggest game, and also saw some of the Florida Mississippi State as well. Those were like two of the main games that I was able to catch. How about you? What were some of the games that you were able to
I
watch?
caught a little bit of that Auburn Arkansas game. So I saw that. I
Okay,
saw that. Didn't get to see the Colorado game. Seemed like it was a exciting game. But
yeah,
Travis Hunter was our player spotlight last week, and he balled out again. But he's crazy, man. He's crazy.
yeah,
How you
yeah. That
how you
Hail
feel
Mary.
about him? How you feel about Travis playing both sides at the next level?
Yeah, I think that Travis, if he's like, I don't remember who said it, but I believe it was someone, I believe it was maybe a former receiver who said that he should focus on that side of the ball just because of the contracts. Like you'll get paid more as a receiver
Mm,
versus a defensive back. Similar to what Micah did. I mean, Micah went from being considered a linebacker to now a rushing because you think about the
mm,
value that's on pass rushes now. If you don't have a pass
exactly.
rush, then it's like you can't play ball. So I think he's going to lean more to the receiving side versus playing defensive back. At least that's what I project.
That's a good
How about
point.
you?
That's a good point. That's a good point. No, it's two ways to think about it, right? Like it's like,
Mm,
are you chasing are you chasing the bag, or you gonna chase greatness? You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Like, and I think he's showing that he like, unlike some of the other ones that we've seen play both sides, they do
mm.
a little bit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they do a little bit on one of the sides, and you can really tell, like,
Right.
how good they are on the other side. But like it seems like Travis is balling on both. And so like it's
Yeah.
like he's game changer on both sides of the field. So I kind of understand what Prime is saying.
Mm.
And it's like but hindsight's always 2020, so we'll see. We'll see.
We
We'll
will.
see.
He definitely got the
Hey,
talent for it, or
yeah,
whatever you choose.
yeah. But no, let's hop into this icebreaker, man. Let's hop into the
So,
first quarter buzz. This topic, the WNBA playoffs started today. The Caitlin Clark effect, right?
mhm.
WNBA is gaining momentum, driven by stars like Asia Wilson and Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. A lot of they Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese brought a lot of eyes to the WNBA. Viewership is increased 21% last year, and we'll see what it's going to do this year. So I think a lot of that. It seems like so long ago. It started with the Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, but that was like 2 seasons ago. Like
Right.
because a lot of people forget that the college I mean the women's college players have to go straight from their game to the WNBA season, so they didn't even get a break really. So no, man, what's your thoughts on the WNBA and where it's headed for a business perspective?
Yeah, from a business perspective, I think it's headed in a very unique direction. I think that, like you said, as much as we want to focus on Caitlin and Angel, I think that I don't think Asia Wilson gets enough. spotlight, or more than I think that this, like, kind of this year, I think because of, like, the different storylines, I think people were more attentive to what she was doing. But I think even still, I think it's just more attention should be put on the history she's making. Another unanimous MVP. There's also rumors and reports about her becoming um, the first WNBA player to make $1 million, just given that she has endorsements of Gatorade and Nike basketball, her own signature
Yep.
shoe.
Yep.
And another thing to kind of keep an eye on as well is that her contract is up during the same time as the new CBA, and when I believe the new media agreement kicks in, the new media rights deal kicks in for the WNBA.
Yep.
So it's a lot of moves that she's making that I think it's going to really pay off, and I think that she deserves more attention for what she's doing. I think that she's really the fuel for the W right now, giving her play on the court and what she's doing off the court as well.
Yeah, and you actually kind of accelerated the conversation, right? Because our player spotlight for the week, our star on the rise is Asia Wilson. Like she's
Right.
been elevating the brand. Like I can even talk about like just the year that she's had, right? 2023 MVP, 2020. I mean, well, 2024 MVP, and led them to a big year this year. Coming off a back-to-back championship, the endorsements deals with Gatorade, Nike, only signature athlete, cover athlete for the NBA 2K5. Uh, she's looking to be the first $1 million player, and then that's going to set the standard, right? You're going to raise the bar, and then for as your Juju Watkins and your Paige Beckers come in, like now it's going to be crazy. So I think to tie both of these into the WNBA starting in the viewership just keep on going up. I think it's going to be crazy, man.
Yeah, and I mean, and you can also say the same with Caitlyn, and I think the attention and how that's also translating from a viewership standpoint. As you mentioned, the viewership has increased by 21% in 2023, and I just think that even though, as you mentioned, that was like 2 seasons ago, Caitlyn and Angel and those storylines happening, it's amazing to see how those storylines actually, translated into what we see today. So even though those things took place a couple of years ago, it's like it really laid I want to say one of the foundational blocks into some of the growth that we're seeing right now with the WNBA for sure.
Yeah, that's correct. So I was also just seeing something about they're saying that Caitlyn signed a $28 million deal with Nike, and
Mm,
in comparison to her $200,000 salary with the WNBA. So it's like
right.
the money is there
Mhm,
outside of the W. The
mhm,
difference is that now they have to funnel money into the league.
mhm,
Players are getting money outside of it, but now if they
mhm,
funnel money into the league, now you get better players, you get better athletes, you get better exposure. You
mhm,
you you're able to shine a light on some of the other players like an Enrique down in Dallas. Like you're able to shine some light on even like Angel Reese is over there, but you got Kennedy Carter over there with her, or
mhm,
even like even Kelsey Mitchell with Caitlin Clark. It's going to be a lot. It's a lot of opportunities.
mhm,
If the money is going into the players that they can just like these brands are going to begin to put money into the league, and it goes right back to the streaming deals we talked about because now streaming partnerships come into play, TV rights, all that stuff. That's gonna drive some more revenue into the league.
Yeah, and I think I believe it was Cheryl Miller who mentioned during the WNBA All Star weekend when she was interviewed, just saying how, like, she feels the W is it's not enough, as far as, like, when that media, like, when the number was released on the media deal, she was saying that it's not enough. I believe a lot of research can kind of go into, like, what's the real value of the WNBA, and just given we just had that the shift, when you factor in NIL and some of the new
Mm-hmm.
athletes that are coming into the league, and where the league is now with the different players, as you mentioned, there's a lot of opportunity, for competition. I mean, these playoffs
Mm-hmm.
are, the playoff matchups are going to draw a lot of attention. So it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be interesting to see when we look back on this time of, like, man, did we maybe undervalue the W,
Yeah.
given the currency, because we're just kind of marking things up for what I feel like what we're seeing right now. And it's
Yeah.
like you mentioned Paige, you mentioned Juju coming down the line.
Yep.
A lot of these these women's basketball players are already household names. They
Yep.
already make a ton of money. So what are you gonna like undervalue them when they get to the
Yeah,
W? It's just like
and
you
that's
can't
what
do
I
that now.
yeah, and that's what I was thinking about, like even from the standpoint of the deal. And I don't have the deal in front of me, but like I think they signed it, and obviously they probably could renegotiate. But it's
Right.
like you said, like man, you think of like really think about in 3 to 4 years where they're gonna be with some of these household names. Like Paige is everywhere in
Mm,
sports. Like she's all over the place. She's courtside at games. Like Paige is a star, and she'll be there
mm,
next year. Like it's gonna be crazy because if she goes to LA, like that's gonna be big time. I
man.
saw that LA has a 40 something% chance of getting the number one pick, and if they get Paige, that's gonna be good to have her, like in a big market, and that's gonna do wonders for the league as well. Then, like you said, you
Absolutely.
got 3 years, or two more years, where Juju could come in, and that's going to be big. So you think, like you said, you think about the league and you think about what these streaming numbers are going to do. People are going to tune in to see Juju, Page, Angel, Caitlin, Asia. Like it's gonna be major. So I'm very interested to see where that goes in the future, and I'm loving that. I'll move on to the next topic. The big play of the week is Nike's CEO appointment. The stock price jumped up. John Donahue, who appointment as Nike CEO fueled the growth, positioning the brand for long-term success. You saw the stock price jump up 4% after the announcement. Digital sales increased by 16%, and good strong quarter revenue boost. So, man, how do you feel about the new CEO and what this means to Nike? I know I'm a big proponent of Nike and their marketing
Mm,
and them not missing ever with their
mhm,
campaigns. So that's it.
mhm.
I think it's going to be big.
Yeah, I think that Nike is on an interesting trajectory. I think that the landscape has changed a lot, right? I think that it's not you look at different competitors in the apparel space. It's not just apparel. Like I feel like people are really investing into the market and investing into the storytelling, especially as we mentioned, we talk about so much with NIL. I mean, you look at a lot of these apparel brand companies have tremendous NIL rosters. You think back to, Cooper Flag recently signed with New Balance, and
Hmm.
you have other individuals that are under other athletic apparel imprints. But I think it's a unique time, and as you mentioned, Nike is all about storytelling, and the more you're able to add different ways in which you distribute your content, and expand your brand, and it not just being about apparel, even though that's what they're known for. I think that it also allows for people to kind of explore other aspects of their business model and kind of see where it's going to go and where things are headed 10 years down the line. So it's a unique time for Nike.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's big because, like I said, it's more lifestyle, right? Right.
Mm,
Like you think about it being lifestyle branding, and everybody resonates with the Nike product. It's
mm,
something like I saw one thing where people talking about, like, even a Cooper Flag, with him
mm,
signing with New Balance, but it's like every time you see him, he's in Nikes.
mm.
like every time you see him, like just like off the floor, he's wearing Nike. So it's like, I think, injecting some fresh new blood into like Nike, somebody who grew from the ground up. I saw it on LinkedIn. Like it was like, he started in the retail stores as an intern. Like he worked his way up. Like, to work your way up from an intern, retail store, to the CEO of Nike is insane. That's an insane. You know how they say the insane run? Like that's a generational run right there. That is a generational run to do that. Like, just imagine working in the store one day and telling somebody, I'm going to be the CEO of the company, and you become the CEO of the company. It's
Yeah,
like,
that talking about taking the stairs for real. I mean, Elliot Hill, I mean, like you said on the LinkedIn post, like, just to see like the steps he took, because I think a lot of us, no matter the industry, in this new day and age, you think you can just go straight to the top, but
yeah,
that's never the case. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
great to
No,
see.
that's big. That's big. It was definitely inspiring. Definitely inspiring.
for sure.
Um, I want to move on to another topic that both of us are kind of excited about.
Mm,
The private equity.
mm,
We're gonna do some tech talk, but the private equity. Last week we talked about the House versus NCAA settlement, and how it's going to reshape college sports, and private equity is entering and revolutionizing how the funding and the media rights are going to play out. I think that with the the settlement, it opens up for that to happen. And basically, for people who don't understand what private equity means, is that means that these people are able to generate money. I mean, or able to pull together money, and actually fund or buy a portion of the business. And now it's truly going to make these sports brands businesses, these sports organizations, these like, because you think of them, previously I was like, it's a school and it has a team, but in actuality it's always been a brand. Like
mm,
you think about some of the different teams, like it's the brand. I'm from Alabama,
mm,
and Alabama football is the sports team that everybody talks about. Like, you
mm,
either Alabama or you're Auburn. There's no Falcons. Like, nobody cares about the Saints or the Tampa Bay. Like, it is Alabama football. Everything
mm,
stops for Alabama football.
mm,
A couple of my guys, they got a saying. It's called the program, right? The Alabama football is the program, and it's the program that everybody wants to be like. Everybody wants to be a part of, and it's a brand. So think about if a private equity firm is able to come in and buy a piece of Alabama football, and what that's going to mean to the sport. And think about what is that going to mean to NIL deals. It's going to
mm.
bring in a lot of money. It's going to generate a lot of revenue. It's going to change how people view sports.
Yeah, I think that in a sense we're already kind of seeing that with the collectives a little bit and just how they're raising money. I
Mm-hmm.
think that but also like the aspect of private equity or excuse me, PE getting into college sports, because I think it offers an opportunity for former players, right? So let's say you're a
Yep.
former football player at University of Florida, or you're a former, you think of like the major, for example, football brands, Ohio State to Texas, the USC's of the
Mm-hmm.
world, right? You're a former player and you have some sort of investing background. If you can invest in your team, or investing in or x amount of teams, right? Because it doesn't just have to be football. It could be another how it could be basketball.
Yep.
So I think it offers a tremendous opportunity for the players. I'm excited to see it, and we're kind of seeing it now, transition with just the raising of funds. And you see what Tennessee is doing with the 10% tax on
Yep.
their NFL, their football game tickets, 10%
Yeah.
tax on the tickets, and we're going to see that soon. So I think that that talent fee that they're looking to include for the players. So it's these opportunities as far as like PE, and even just how the NIL collectives are looking to raise money as a
Mm-hmm.
whole is going to be interesting, because now you can not only invite the casual fan into being a part of what they're building, then you can also bring like these athletes that have that may have experiences in PE and investing in, and I think it offers a tremendous opportunity for them to grow and expand with their team.
This is what it made me think about, right?
Mm,
So, college football generates $4 billion annually.
mm,
PE firms are going to be able to capitalize on media rights, NIL deals, and the commercialization of it, right? The difference between, because I like that you brought up collectives. The difference
mm,
between collectives and the PE firms
mm,
is going to be that the PE firms are actually going to be invested and going to be able to see our ROI that
mm,
collectives are not able to get. They don't get a return on their investment.
mm,
They're
mm,
literally just giving their money away, and they have to just really love the school. When you talk about when you talk about private equity, I'm
mm,
getting a return on my investment. So I'm
for
gonna,
sure.
if I think I can get a return, and I'm gonna keep throwing money in so I can get more money out. And so that influx of money that is going to come in is going to help generate even more money that's going to come out. And that is going to trickle down to the athlete. But I'm also interested to see how it grows the sport, and how many other, like you said, former athletes are willing to to invest where they previously probably just threw away. Like it's a write off. It's a write off. Hey, I'll throw my alma mater some money,
Right.
but when it becomes an investment, oh, I can have a piece of my alma mater, and that leads us to our last one, our hustler playbook case study. Jay Williams is wants to put in a bid for 49% of Duke basketball.
Mm.
Like I was like, okay, now we're talking. Like
Right.
he's looking to buy it like a half of Duke basketball. And if you're thinking about it from the perspective of like you just said, Jay Williams was a player that was able to be a two-time player of the year, two-time champ as well, right? Or was it one?
Mm. I believe it was one,
It might
but
have been
don't
one,
quote
but I
me
know
on
he
it.
was a two.
It might
Yeah,
have
he
been
was.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the point is, Jay Will got
Right.
busy. Jay Will got
Right.
busy at Duke,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now and unfortunately he wasn't able to have the NBA career and the long career that a lot of other people are having, or was able to have that, saw the success that he had.
Mm.
And it's very interesting that he's able to now come in and like, okay, well, I want a piece of what I built, what I helped build,
Mm.
versus
Mm.
like, you never see that. But
Mm.
now you can have these athletes that help build the program come back in and actually see some money that off of what they help build. Like they put sweat equity into this, and so now they're able to
Yeah.
get some of that money back.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about that as well is, you know, I think this Jay Will example, and we talk about, the individuals that listen, to what, listening to this conversation who are in sports or, looking to make that transition. In my opinion, I think that, being a part of the college athletic ecosystem at this particular time is so advantageous because it's really sitting, when you talk about sports business, the college athletics ecosystem, it sits within so many different routes. You talk about now private equity getting into the game, the impact of NIL, the impact of now with these, as you mentioned, right? It's difference between an investment versus fundraising, right? Non for
Yep.
profit versus profit, right?
Yep.
So I think that it's merging these different aspects of business and marketing, and I think that if you want to get that your hand, I guess your hands dirty as far as those different aspects of business, to be in the college athletic space is a remarkable time right now because we're seeing it's not just about the teams now. These are real live businesses. And then on the flip side of that, you talk about Jay Williams. But how cool would it be? It just popped in my head of like if Carmelo Anthony wanted to get a piece of the Syracuse men's basketball team. But then it also begs the question, right? When you now have to view these teams as an investment, you now have to monitor how as we talked about in the last episode about how you spend your money now,
Yep.
because people are not just going to just throw money out there. They're not going to
Yep.
get a ROI, and that's going to be essential. And so I think that, as you mentioned, like the game is changing, now with the private equity side, because you now have to be accountable for every dollar that you spend, and you're going to have to, look at the financials and say, hey, this is where we need to focus on. This is where we may not need to focus on, because it's not only is it too much money, but at the same time, you got to think about 10 years from now, right? We're
Right.
just in the first couple of years of NIL, 3 years in,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken. So it's just, we got to think about what are the long-term impacts for this. And there's a lot of opportunities for athletes. So,
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
news flash for everybody out there that didn't want their college athletics to be tainted by money. It is over.
Over.
Amateurism is gone.
It's gone.
It is gone. It is not coming back. The sharks are in the water swimming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a big boy game now. Like
Yep.
so, we're talking about some big money, and we're talking about some real money that's about to be influxed into these athletics. And so love it or hate it, but that's where we're at. That's the reality of the thing, man. And you made me think about it, bro. Like it's so many different. Like you said you mentioned USC. Imagine if Reggie Bush can come back and get a piece of USC. How what happened to him, having to give back his Heisman Trophy And imagine him be able to be a part of a private equity firm and go buy a piece of USC football. That'd be amazing.
I mean, you just ought to, because as you mentioned, that's what equity is key. I mean, you think about the reason why some of these, you go to USC. If you're a football player, you go to USC because of the likes of Reggie Bush and Matt
Yes.
Leinart and what those guys did in the early
Yes.
2000s. They laid that foundation, and no
Yes.
matter how it could be 50 years from now,
Yep.
you're going to always put on that USC versus Texas national championship game. You're going to always talk about
Yep.
those seasons that they had. You can't erase that. But I think it's great now that a lot of those players back then who made their marks, and whether it's football or basketball, no matter what the sport is, if you really made your mark, this is an opportunity to really tap back into those institutions and kind of not just see yourself as just a player, but more and so now and as a true business entity.
Yeah.
And so that's this is really changing the game
Yeah.
in the
And
college athletics dynamic.
we're here to give games. So just think
Mm,
from a student athlete perspective. I think the key point in this is to build your network, right? So if you're someone who is putting in the sweat equity and killing it on the field, on the court, like build your network. Like you need to find out who the power players are. You need to be around the power players. You need to be able to understand that when that time does come,
mm,
that you're able to be a part of it, even if you don't have the funds that they have. Like people will help you get into some of these deals just because of the fact that what you did and what you meant to the school. But
mm.
you got to be in the room. You got to be in the right rooms. You got to be in what they call miracle territory. You get to the spot. You got to get to the spot. And so getting to the spot looks like, while you're a student athlete, like, make sure you're networking. That don't mean that you compromise yourself, but make sure you're networking. Make sure you're meeting the right people. Make sure you're put. Like I said, I just talked to some students, last week. Make sure you're building your personal brand. Like, what are people saying about you when you're not in the room? People will take a liking to you because of how you carry yourself, how you move, and how you're walking around on campus, how you're who you're helping on campus, who like the way that you're building out your personal brand, the things you're doing on social media, how you're branding yourself on social media is going to be important. So I think that's something that definitely, as we close, I want to make sure that we're giving that game out to all of y'all, to make sure you're building out your personal brand and make sure you're networking, because these opportunities, to after you get done, are going to be done through that. Not just how you played, it's who you met and how people feel about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Every each aspect of your brand is a piece of currency these days for athletes, and so it's all about how you leverage it, as you mentioned, and it's not just about money, but also looking at your brand as a sum of all its parts at the end of the day when it comes to leverage and having those conversations. So I couldn't have said it better myself.
Absolutely, absolutely. But man, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Hustlers Playbook. We've given out the game, man. I'm telling you, like, I'm really excited about what we're doing over here. When everybody starts to pay attention, I definitely, we'll point back to these days. But every week we're gonna give you some new content, new news that's going on, and we're gonna break it down to how you can capitalize and leverage that. So make sure you follow us at Dream Big Fred, at DK Sports 410, the Jersey Sports Network, Dream Big Sports. Definitely see y'all next week. We got some episodes with some interviews dropping this week as well. So make sure y'all stay tuned. See y'all.
Peace.